Hey, what's going on guys? Fitz here and welcome to another Diablo 4 update video. Blizzard just released some Diablo 4 news and I have summarized them for you. If you want to read the entire news yourself, the link will be in the description below this video. Here are the topics from the Diablo 4 June quarterly update. The Diablo 4 team has fully transitioned to working from home, just like some of us, or at least in the game and technology industry. Will this delay Diablo 4 even further? Maybe, but the team feels they were able to keep momentum going strong on the development of Diablo 4. The team focused on one of the 5 regions called the Dry Steppes. If you recall from my previous Diablo 4 video, this region is the harsh desert environment. And if you watched or played some BlizzCon 2019 Diablo 4 demo, you'll recall that the game was played on a small area in the region called Skazglen, just next to Dry Steppes. To put that in perspective, this is the entire map of Sanctuary. This part here is Skazglen, and this small area right here is where the demo was played. Now, just to the left is the Dry Steppes region. Why am I showing this? Because this gave me ideas about the scale of Diablo 4's world and that we are still very far from release, but more on that later. So, the Diablo 4 team played the entire region of the Dry Steppes, complete with campaign content, open world elements, itemization, a PvP subzone, dungeons, and even a cinematic to cap the completion of the region's narrative. They played the game for a few days and tried different builds. The team said it lets them see how all the current features harmonize over a longer playtime. They still have 4 more regions to complete, not to mention endgame content, balancing, bug fixing, and more. Although they indicated that the playtest didn't represent the entirety of the game's progress, other regions of the game are underway. The Dry Steppes is just the region where they made a concerted push to create a complete and cohesive experience that they can use to draw observations from. As part of development, visuals are often kept in rough form, so the game team can cheaply test ideas and iterate on them. If something isn't fun, it's much cheaper to change or discard a Blockout asset than a final one. So basically, blocking out, or what they call gray boxing levels, allows them to play areas where the art isn't finished. Here are some of the Blackout assets that they shared on the blog post. Please bear in mind that some of the assets shown might not be final. This part shows how they make a classic demon from concept art, then to Blockout, then finally to in-game art. A couple of things have evolved with how the story is delivered in Diablo 4. First, the conversations. In Diablo 3, they relied on UI panes with a character's name and portrait. This time in Diablo 4, they are using a mix of tool-generated and manually choreographed cameras to tackle conversations. For example, for simple interactions with NPCs, the camera is brought in closer to the characters, while still maintaining an overall isometric feel. And then they use a library of animations to deliver the general gist of the conversations. For more complex conversations, they take a similar camera approach, but here the characters' movements and animations are more deliberately handcrafted. This hopefully means that the story moments will have more impact to us while keeping us in the world as much as possible. The second storytelling method which they are developing for Diablo 4 is real-time cutscenes or RTCs. I know this has been in other games for a long time now, but first in the Diablo series. This technique is reserved for the most important story elements or moments. Basically, the camera is angled like in a movie, but it will show your character with their currently equipped armor as part of the scene, for example. They can also display them at your current resolution and with your currently enabled graphics settings, so the scenes end up feeling more seamless and like part of the game. One of the main new features in Diablo 4 is the open world of Sanctuary. So, while you can concentrate on the story campaign and work through that, there are a variety of open world systems and pieces of content that you are also discovering along the way. If you want to take a break from the main campaign and go exploring, crafting, or PvPing, you are free to do so. One of the new open world features in Diablo 4 is camps. These are locations of importance that have been overrun by enemies, which once cleansed, turn into friendly outposts with NPCs and a waypoint location. Each camp will have a backstory. For example, one of the camps in the zone is a town afflicted by a curse that turned villagers into piles of salt. Another is a crypt haunted by a spirit that possesses the bodies of various undead. Finally, mounts were another thing you could obtain during the playthrough. You could get to your objectives more quickly without trivializing travel or combat. There's also itemization for mounts. Yes, you can customize your mount. For example, you can attach a trophy to the saddle to signal to other players that you had completed an obscure challenge in the zone. Oh, you can also get dismounted by enemy attacks. Diablo 4's multiplayer incorporates elements from shared world games without the game ever feeling like it's veering into massively multiplayer or MMO territory. To be clear, this is a philosophy rather than a tech limitation. The game will still feel like Diablo, but with some shared world game elements. Dungeons and key story moments are always private, just you, the player, and your party, if you have one. Once story moments are complete and towns turn into social hubs, you'd run into a few people in town. While on the road, you'd sometimes run into a player here and there. And then finally, if you went to a location where a world event was happening, you would see a larger congregation of players trying to defend against an attack by a cannibal horde or trying to take down a world boss. It's worth calling out that while some coordination is helpful during these events, you are never forced to join a party. Solo players can walk in, help complete the event, and claim a reward. And for players that do want to party up against the minions of hell, there are new tools available to find a group, whether by activity or proximity in the game world. Here are some of the items that were shown in the blog post. In my opinion, magic or blue items and rare or yellow items are much more useful now compared to previous Diablo games. There are new item affixes, just like I discussed in my previous Diablo 4 video. You can see from the screenshots the new affixes like ancestral and demonic power, and some legendary powers or skills. Diablo 4 is just in the pre-alpha stages of development and has a very long way to go before it's completed. It's hard to estimate a release date, but this is a question that is always asked, so I'm going to say my opinion. I'm not a game developer, but having followed many game developments myself, and with some Google search, I can estimate a release date or at least a release year. During the pre-alpha stage, majority of the content is being developed. The game then goes to alpha stage where the main features have all been added and the game is fully playable from start to finish. Then the beta stage, where all the content and assets are integrated, and the focus is optimization and bug fixing. Then finally, Gold Master. The game is final and ready for public release. Based from that information and from what Blizzard is saying, there's probably at least 2 years from now before Diablo 4 is released. I was hoping for a 2021 release when they announced the game during BlizzCon 2019, but maybe we are looking at a 2022 Diablo 4 release. What do you guys think about the latest Diablo 4 updates? Let me know in the comments section below. Please subscribe and hit the like button if this video was helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.
Hell is coming, brother. Hell is coming.